What's going on, guys? My name is Joe Graves, and this is Mastering Business Growth. Running a business can either be amazing or an absolute nightmare. So on this show, I speak with people who are killing it in business, and I find out what it really takes to succeed. If you think you'd be a good guest, then drop me an email at joe@innersound.media. Enjoy the episode. How are we doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. So, of course, this show's called Mastering Business Growth because I'm trying to master business growth. So I speak with people like yourself who are doing very well in business. So please, let's start with who you are and what you do.
Who am I and what I do? My name's Ryan. Nice to meet you. Thanks very much for having me here.
Hey, and thank you for joining us.
I really appreciate it.
On me, us.
Well, I mean, I've got multiple personalities as well. I wouldn't worry. I'm definitely a
Thank
weed
you
on
all for joining us. It's split, isn't it?
Well, there's business phase, the first number one, right? You can actually multitask by having multiple personalities.
Yeah. It's like, it wasn't me, it was Patricia.
Yeah. Brilliant movie. What do I do? What do I do today? I run a sales consultancy called Friday Solved. We solve sales, funnily enough. It's my third agency. I've been in the agency consulting game for 23 years. And you're looking at me going, you don't look old enough, Ryan.
No, I really am. And I'm not doing that I'm not trying to have like a secret compliment. How old are you?
I'm 43, mate.
Get fucked.
Yeah, mate.
No.
I am. I'm 43, yeah.
And you live on Chinese?
Well, as much as I can, yeah.
Chinese takeaways for clarity.
Yeah, I love a Chinese takeaway. Yeah, and I'm 43, mate.
Wow.
43, yeah.
Hey, you look great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, look, if you've got a separate podcast on how people do health things to keep themselves young, I've taken all of this new kind of these supplements,
right? And
honestly, I swear by them. We can have a separate conversation, unless that's interesting for this podcast. The first, right?
Give us the overview quickly.
One
tip. I tell you, let's go with these supplements, and then we'll go into what you actually do.
Yeah. I guess we can talk about business later, can't we? All right. So the thing that I've discovered recently is this thing called NAD, and I'll probably get it rounded. It's NMN and NAD, and I think it's NAD levels in your body, which are the things that help cell regeneration. So if you take NMN, it slows and potentially reverts cell decay and degradation.
This sounds like Mayo Clinic stuff.
Yeah, but it's all like super affordable, right?
Yeah.
So I take this thing called Age Mate, which is like a little purple powder. Mm-hmm. And then I take a couple of other supplements. I take some extra NMN, magnesium, iron, lots of oil, and turmeric, and obviously the Age Mate powder and creatine every day.
So you used to look 43. But now you look 36.
I'm actually 60.
Is that right?
No, I'm not. Honestly, I swear by it, my energy levels are in a completely different place now.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff.
I'm going to watch this back and make notes and
definitely
give them all a go, because
I've
started to age, finally.
How old are you?
33.
No, mate, you got loads of time. You're still a baby, mate.
Well,
still a baby.
Yeah.
It's a business chat.
Yes, sorry. You were saying, who are you? What do you do?
So I'm Ryan.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for having me here today. Really, really appreciate it. I'm currently running a business called Friday Solved. We're a sales consultancy, so we solve sales, as we say. We've got a slightly different take on the way that we go about helping businesses solve sales, because businesses have and just for the kind of more context, we work predominantly with consultancies, creative businesses, whether they're creative agencies, cybersecurity businesses, B2B tech, those sorts of things. Consultative, high sell ticket items, right? So it's a very consultative sales process. Those businesses have a major affliction, and kind of, not affliction, sorry. They've got, I'll start again. We can cut that out. Those businesses have got a major addiction to outsourcing sales. They buy a meeting gen, lead gen solution, a business development agency, and they've outsourced the problem, and they're like, oh, amazing, all the leads are just going to start dropping into my diary and happy days. But hand on heart, and I've wasted a lot of money and time over the years making the same mistakes. It just doesn't work.
Why don't they work?
Because
why are they so addicted if it doesn't?
Because they think they're doing something about it, because they're paying for a service and they've in their head actioned something to go, oh, well, I'm taking care of that. Now I'm going to focus on whatever a normal day to day is. They think that they've taken care of that problem. And I'm not suggesting these businesses are bad people, by the way. Obviously, the BD agencies, the meeting gen people I'm talking about. But they will never know the client's business as well as the client. Mm-hmm. They will never be able to articulate what they do, what they solve, anywhere near as someone who's inside that business. And they just can't spot the little opportunity in the way if they happen to get someone on a phone or someone replies on a message, you can read the words on the page, hear the words that someone's saying, potential prospect that is. But if you're tuned into what your business is really good at, it's like you can see between the words and go, oh no, that's the problem. We've got a solution for that. You can't do that as an outsourced solution. It just doesn't work.
Is this specifically sales? Because let me
specifically sales.
I was going to say because surely, and we do something like this. So obviously we do podcast stuff for companies, and it's a bit of a lead generation tool. We pitch it as business development. So one of the things we're developing a thing at the moment, and I would be really genuinely curious for your feedback on this. We don't believe we can do the sales for people. In fact, there's something you said that I really like, which is that you don't sell. Because I don't believe you can sell. I believe people buy what they want, when they need it. I think there are no magic words. There's no nothing. I do believe you are right when you're having those sales conversations. Yeah, only you know. Only you as a business know. And I get that. So what we're doing is we're, creating podcasts for companies. So create a company, their own company podcast. We're doing a bit of a, like I said, done for you package now where we'll figure out people's ICP. So right, so who's buying from you? What other companies are there like that? Or who's going to be a good source of referrals? We'll do the outreach for them, do the booking, and get them to sit across the table like this, have the conversation, and just like this, we're probably going to know each other for the rest of our lives now because you have an interaction like this, you're going to be a text away from now on. That's how it works. If there was ever a sale to be done, it would be between you and I from that point. That's not something we would do for people. We get them up to this point, make all their content for them, filled their pipeline, but I do believe, we can't do the sale for them. It absolutely cannot be done. I totally agree with that. So sorry, please keep going on.
So you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, you mentioned the don't sell thing, so that's our philosophy. Mm-hmm. So when we're working with clients, we're constantly trying to get them to stop leaning in to try and sell something too early. And the thing that we contextualize that with is the concept of buyability rather than selling. Because especially when you're working with high ticket, super consultative, very specific solutions, no one's selling anything to anyone. Like, obviously, yesteryear's double glazing person who comes and knocks on the door, today's version solar panel person, right? If someone knocks on your door in that context, you could be sold to. Because you're probably going, well, actually, I've been thinking about solar panels. Go on, I'll at least hear you out, right? And then all of a sudden you've been convinced into purchasing it. And that's totally cool, fine. Same happens in car dealerships as well. You've got a level of intent. Otherwise, you just go, no, thanks, close the door. But when you're doing something that's highly consultative, high ticket, you cannot pick up the phone to someone and go, hey, do you want to buy this thing? It's going to be like £150,000. Like, oh, God, yeah. I've actually just written a brief this morning for that very same thing.
That is
amazing. Can I send you an invoice? Yeah, mate, that'll be amazing. Like, it just doesn't work. So as exactly what you're saying, it's about buyability. So what you need to do is create buyability. And that buyability comes from having a relationship. That relationship takes time to mature. And the underpinning components of that relationship is trust and the fact that you as the person who has the solution to the problem can show that you can add value rather than just trying to look for the deal every single time. It's a patience game.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. I mean, it's the same deal. Like, I could outsource sales. I never would. Here's the thing, though. It's about that I have conversations with people all the time, and they have a question about podcasts or what microphone you're using, why that one, what are you doing to it after? I have the answer, and I love the answer. I'm obsessed with it. And you can have these conversations with people in a way where, there's something about sales in general people don't like being sold to. People like buying solutions. They'll love it. If I have a headache, can't wait to go buy some paracetamol, Yep. But I don't like someone telling me I need this or I need that.
Or being pushed to do it.
Yeah, and even though
that's immediate, like, you're killing the deal if you push too hard.
Yeah, it's so bad, and it's obvious when you just know a bit about human nature and how you react with people and interact with people, But it's a similar thing. There's that whole, and you read a book on sales and it's like, point out people's problems and it's, all right, sure, yeah, because that's what a sale is, solving a problem or whatever. That's what a product or service should do. But it's insulting. And the amount of times I get messages off LinkedIn like, oh, I do this, blah, blah, I noticed that. It's like, can you fuck off? You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing as much as I can. No, and I don't want to pay you money. It's something I can do myself when I've got time, when it's a priority.
But if that person came to you and went, hey, mate, look, been looking at your LinkedIn profile. I really like what you do. We know your space that you're in right now. I'd guess that at least one of these things, this is possibly a problem. This is probably one of your problems. This is one of your problems. Well, look, I know a little bit about that. So like, here's some stuff that you might find useful. Like that is buyability rather than trying to do the hard-nosed sales thing.
It's giving.
Always give.
Yeah.
Give and don't expect to get. Because it does come back. It does come back. I mean, in one of my previous agencies, so this is my third agency, consultancy, whichever you want to call it, same thing, right? We were pitching for a very well-known, large UK retail bank that's not located too far from here. And it took us pretty much 5 years to win it. We lost 3 senior clients. Like, I think it was the marketing director. I think we went through like 3 marketing directors in the time as well. I mean, most people would have just given up on that stuff. But like the perseverance, the giving, here's some value, here's some value, here's some value, here's some value, saw us through that, and obviously a bit of determination, bit of dogged determination. But it paid off in the end. And it was actually one of our kind of biggest accounts for a very long time, actually. But we weren't really selling anything. We were just like present going, hey, we know some stuff about this. Here's some stuff. Is that useful? Hope that's useful. Maybe we can have a chat soon. No, okay, fine. Here's some more stuff. And that is a brilliant way to do it because we showed that we cared about the brand. We showed that we had answers and we turned up fundamentally. Now, that's an extreme example. I mean, I think nearly 5 years was a long old time, but great brand. A joy to work with as well. It was really worth it.
Yeah. No, we've definitely had situations like that ourselves, and it goes to show all you can really do is make sure people know who you are. Hopefully, they like you. Make sure they know what you do. So here's something, and I found this out recently, and I love it. I'm never going to forget it. You should let people know what you do and pricing, how it works, kind of as early as possible, but in a non-salesy way. So the way I do that is very simple with people. You have conversations, much like we did before you came to the studio. I'll let you know what we do, how much it costs. Not strictly for you, just now you know. If you know anyone, someone goes, I need a podcast, do you know anyone? You're like, oh, well, actually, yeah, Innersound do that. And then you send them our way and it's submitting it for you. You'll get a 10% rolling commission, And I like to just let people know because you know what? You might in a year go, actually, I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Who do I think of? And that's all you can do. But I don't believe there are magic words I can say to make you buy.
It's timing.
It's timing. Yeah, it's timing. Yeah. It's making sure people think of you. Do you know, I think I've told this story, maybe on here before, but I've told it quite a few times. There was a famous music producer called Billy Decker. And every time he would record an album for someone whose second passion was woodwork, and he would make people a chopping board every time, and he would sign it at the end, like carve his signature in Billy Decker. So it was like, because people are going to need an album again in 2 years. And, who are they going to think of when they're making the dinner every night, chopping up fucking vegetables or whatever? It's like, genius. Billy Decker, give him a call, And that's it. He's just making damn sure people are thinking of him when they need him. But you can't just be like, oh, shit, I need some money. That band recorded an album 2 months ago. I'll give them a call and say the magic words. It's not a thing.
It's timing. Timing. I mean, we had the conversation, right? We're next year we are going to launch a podcast. And again, in a very disarming way, which is, again, like I think the right style. All you've done is give me the information. You haven't been pushy. I now know what you do, what it looks like, roughly how much it's going to cost, all that kind of stuff. So it's in the back of my mind. I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm not doing it tomorrow. Yeah. There's no point in trying to push the sale. Yeah. It's going to take us at least 2 months to write the strategy with everything else that we've got going on. And then you've got Christmas in the middle of that as well, right? So it's a timing thing.
What do you think about people who push it? Because, like you say, there's an entire industry out there. You say there's agencies addicted to like buying or outsourcing their sales. What are they selling? What is the service they are providing? Because based on what you're saying and the way I understand humans to behave, it can't be done. What are they doing for people?
The agencies or the client, or the BD agencies or the clients?
The sales people that they're hiring.
So they are playing the chance game.
That's it.
Of thinking that they'll get enough scale and they'll have that lucky moment where it's right time, right place. Mm-hmm.
Which accounts for like 0.5%?
It's a very, very small percentage, right? And again, like because they are, the way that they're geared, because most of them are still very old school models, methodologies, technology. The way they're geared is, especially when there's still actually a lot of telephone going on in this business as well, which I think is ludicrous, considering we're nearly in 2025.
Yeah, I think it's great working. Once you've already got the relationship in place.
Phone's amazing in the middle of the funnel, but not the top of the funnel. Although they reckoned phone's going to be on the rise again next year, but I'm not sure.
Why is that? What's the theory behind that?
They think that everyone's sick of seeing stuff in their inboxes, which is true. It's that's not untrue. But how are you going to catch these people? And also, even if you do have their mobile number, what if someone phones you and you get like a number that you don't recognize? Well, I'll tell you what I do. I do the adult thing. I let it ring out, and then I Google the number to see who it was.
No, I get that suspected spam or whatever, and I just usually just answer it and continue eating my rice or whatever, whatever I'm doing.
Anyway, I'm going to continue my Chinese takeaway. It's just, people just don't like it. It's so intrusive, right? But middle of funnel, I think, is really interesting for the phone. So what we usually coach people to consider, they already know you. They may well have your number in their phone by this point. And you can think about the multi-channel approach. So, for example, you met someone top of funnel, you had a disarming conversation with them, you've nudged them a few times, you've given them some value, you might have got them on a call, right? And they're now sat somewhere in your middle of funnel, and you're going to nurture them on a regular basis, right?
And what would you consider nurturing? Do you try and keep it businessy talk, or do you just talk about anything?
Well,
everything?
We use different gears. We'd always recommend different gears for things, right? So, for example, quite a firm gear, like a hard gear would be, hey, look, can we get back on a call to pick up that conversation that we had 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, because you said, actually, it might be a good time to talk. That's quite a forward gear to do the nurture. Then on the other end of the spectrum, it's like, oh, by the way, I wrote this thing or recorded this thing or whatever it is, or saw this thing, even if it's like found content. I thought of you based on a last conversation. Hope it's useful. Don't ask them to do anything. And there's loads of stuff in the middle. But where phone becomes really interesting in that context is by doing the phone, you get 2, maybe even 3 nudges in one follow-up. So if I was your prospect and I was in your funnel and you went and shot off an email to me going, oh, hey, Ryan, here's an article, or can we have that follow-up call, whatever it is, you're done. You can't then go to WhatsApp, and you certainly wouldn't pick up the phone at that point going, oh, I sent you an email. Did you get my email? Like, that just doesn't feel natural. But if you flip it around the other way and you try and phone me, you're probably not going to get through because that's just normal. You could, well, firstly, your missed call is going to be on my screen. I'm going, oh, God, must call him back. You maybe just leave a voicemail. That's another nudge. You can definitely then do a WhatsApp message, a text message, or an email going, hey, look, I tried to catch you on the phone. I know you're busy. I just wanted to talk to you about this. Multiple nudges in one follow-up. So you're catching them in different places and different spaces, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really high impact follow-up, especially if you're not doing the hard-nosed sale thing. Because what you want to ensure is also through the funnel, you can behaviorally condition prospects to respond, right? So the last thing you want to do, or when I'm following up with someone, is have someone go, oh my God, what does Ryan want now? Like, that's the last thing you want. It's like, what does he want? Instead, if you do the givey thing,
just following up on,
it's like, oh, he's typing again. I can see the little typing bubble. It's like, just go away. But if you condition them the right way, you're not constantly asking for something or going, can I have a meeting? Can you got time for a meeting? Got time for a meeting? Got time for a meeting? Because it's just so infuriating. You can condition them by going, giving useful content, useful value add, whatever it is. That prospect over time can be like, oh, I wonder what Ryan's got for me today.
even just a meme. A good meme.
Even a meme. I love a meme. Right. It's a really good, strong, well, you got to pick your prospect right. But anyway, the behavioral conditioning thing, like if you can get the prospect to be like disarmed, and I'm not suggesting this is hyper manipulation or untoward, right? Just being me, right? Because like you clearly are similar to me, like just a natural kind of word, choose my words carefully, a natural giver. I just want to give value. Like, so we give all the answers out, right? And I'm enthusiastic about what we do, and I'm not going to sell anything to anyone. I'm not going to try to. So therefore, my prospects are always willing to reply to me because I'm never going to go, hey, can I have that meeting? Do you want to buy that thing? Do you want to buy that thing?
Yeah, that sort
conditioning,
of,
right?
Subliminal pressure to be like, it's like
if I get on the phone, he's going to ask me, and it's going to make me feel really awkward.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you want.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. So I'm curious. I learned something from one of these episodes I shot where someone was talking about, you got 10 prospects, let's say, and then 2 of them, you make a sale. That's great. And then most people would bin off the other 8. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I know, exactly.
Yeah. So he was like, well, that's what a lot of people do in sales. It's like, you just burn 8 bridges. It's like, what if each one of them was one step away
or
from
80% of your data, which sounds worse.
Yeah, 8%. Oh man, yeah, if you look at it like that. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you approach utilising people who are not going to sell? Of course, asking for referrals, but how do you go about that?
Well, again, not to kind of keep calling out the kind of meet and gen, lead gen businesses, but they don't have the time to focus on the nurture as much as you could if it was inside the business. So that 80% often gets wasted when it's not and when you're outsourcing sales. Where when it's inside, you've got more bang for your buck. You can get more quality resource and more resource at scale for roughly the same kind of money. So you've got the time to focus on that 80%. Now, for me, a deal is never dead unless you genuinely kill it. So
give me an example of
a dead deal. If you run the cat over, you're probably never going to get a deal away, right?
Yeah, of course. When do you know for sure a deal is dead?
If you run the cat over, if you can insult them in any shape or form, if you hyper pressure them into a sale, or they turn around at some point and go, honestly, mate, like just stop, then you stop. Ghosting is not a reason to stop, because honestly, like we are just not that important to that prospect life at that point. So everyone goes, oh, well, I sent them 2 messages and they didn't reply. I'm like, yeah, they've got better things to do. So just persevere. And again, if you're doing the giving thing, rather than constantly pressuring to go, can I have a meeting? Can I have a meeting? Can I have a meeting? Or like, have you looked at the proposal? Like that's going to put people off, right? And that's going to increase the ghosting component. But if you go 8 messages, 9 messages, 10 messages, and there's no reply, that also doesn't mean stop. But the longer the gap becomes, the longer the gaps you need to create between the follow-ups. Because the last thing you want to be is like needy.
It's funny because this sounds like a formula or a science, but it's really just common sense, isn't it?
I'd say it's art meets science.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely an art to making sales work, but there's science to it as well because it's methodical, it's process-driven, there are statistics involved, there's data, right? And I think it is a beautiful meeting of both like art and science to make it work.
Yeah, of course. So I want to go back to something we were talking about earlier, which was outreach, specifically talking about, some people will give out blanket statements like outreach is the way forward or outreach is dead, and everyone's got strong, wildly opposing opinions. I think it's all silly. I think outreach is perfectly fine if you are going with an offer or like value or like anything. Like it's when people go with the hands out, it's like, no, leave me alone. But you can be like, well, again, we do it. Our form of outreach is like, I would love to speak to you because I would. It's fun to do. And it does not mean, I think I'm going to make a sale here. It means I've met someone else who them or someone they know one day might want to hire us. And it's just worth meeting as many people as possible. And in that respect, our outreach has been insanely effective. Does it mean we've closed loads of deals off the bat? No.
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Come.
But well, first of all, we have a few because just by chance, people are like, actually, we've been looking to do this. Like, sweet. Well, here we are. It's what we do. But if not, I'm literally building friendships, not business contacts, not leads, friendships. And I can see where they're going. Some of them themselves have been like, right, this isn't, I don't need this, but I know so-and-so. They've been looking for a podcast studio. Sweet, send them our way. That's how it works. What are your thoughts on that?
So, blasé statements like outreach is dead is frankly ridiculous, right? And everyone loves a strong strapline. I'm sure I'm at age a little bit here, but there was a famous Wired magazine front cover, "The web is dead." Everyone like lost their mind. Oh God, the web is dead. It's like, no, it's not. Like read on, because actually what they're saying is it's like the next version of the web. Like everyone loves a slogan to like kind of get to. As with everything in sales, there is no one single thing that's going to make it work for you. It's always a lots of things done at a high level of scale and a super high level of consistency. Because if you don't get the consistency, then if you stopped doing sales for a month, it's not like when you turn it back on in a month, you just pick it back up. It's actually got like a 2-month impact, not a 1-month impact, because it's a momentum thing, right? But to crack sales, it's about doing as many things as you possibly can with the right attitude, the right strategy, not selling, not being pushy, being present, turning up, adding value. A big component of that is outreach/demand generation. Why? Because it's wildly scalable. And sales always has and always will be a numbers game, right? The more people that you talk to, there's a higher chance of you building a rapport, building a relationship at more scale. and then it cascades to the pipeline, and ultimately there'll potentially, over a period of time, be more deals to be closed. It's a simple numbers game. So outreach is brilliant, and we're ignoring telephone calling, because I don't think it's appropriate to do the top of funnel cold call. But email and LinkedIn, and people listening go, oh yeah, but the inbox is so busy. Yeah, but just write better words, right?
Yeah, no, do you know what? It is busy if it's crap.
Yeah.
But if there's good stuff in there, I get some messages. Again, to this day, got on yesterday. It was someone that I tried adding on LinkedIn a long time ago, a few months ago. She's proper killing it. She's called Leah Turner. Yeah. And like I tried adding her, didn't send her a message or anything, but she replied saying, "Oh, my inbox is full. The connection list is full," and like in brackets like humble brag sort of thing, or like whatever. And she was like, "But I'm sure I'll piss someone off soon enough, and then there'll be room for you." She said, "But in the meantime, feel free to drop me a message." And I was like, I noticed that one. And we're just chatting a little bit, and she's booked on coming on early next year, and that'll be great.
Yeah, she'll be a great guest. She's
absolutely.
Really interesting.
But it's stuff like that. But if you get someone, I've had someone not being like, I edit videos. I'm like, sweet dude. It's like, do you want to hire me? I'm like, no, it's literally what I do for a living. No, I'm fine. I'm trying to get more work, sort of thing. Like, then just kept question marking me. I'm like, what? What do you want to say to that? I'm sorry. No, that's not how it works. And you ignore them.
It's about better words, right? Because, when we're talking to clients, we're talking about top of funnel, we're talking about LinkedIn and email as a channel, and adding to that the dreaded word of automation, which immediately, as soon as you see it, like everyone's like, oh God, right? I don't think I want to do LinkedIn automation. I'm like, why is it bad? What's bad about it? What's the tool doing that's bad? We're spamming people. Well, how are you spamming people? Well, the messages that we send, like they're spammy. Well, don't write spam. It's super simple. Like, that's not the robot's fault. It's the person who's writing the crap flow.
Yeah.
Like, do better work. Like, be better at writing really good words, and then it'll work. It's super simple.
Yeah.
Don't write trash, because most of the emails and LinkedIn messages that are out there are total trash. And everyone goes, I don't want it to look automated. Well, okay, well, write it like a human then. Mm-hmm. Like, don't write it as some like horrible structured, like formal letter that just happens to be on a screen.
That's where things like, oh, it's a numbers game. That's when people believe they can write crap like that and get away with it. Because it's like, well, I can send it to 10,000 people, and then surely one of them. I mean, I've got two things to say. Well, yeah,
send it to 10,000 people, you probably will get one, right?
Yeah, of course.
But you don't want one. You want like, on email, the conversion rates are atrocious on that first. Like if you're getting 1%, that's actually not bad, right? If you can get to 2-3% on that first conversion point, actually that's pretty decent, right? And there'll be loads of people out there going, oh, we can get 10%. I'm like, well, hopefully you can, but is it real? Like, I don't know. I always question people that are like, the results are too high. But just like even the subject line on an email, write it like you'd write it. It's almost like weird that when someone goes to write these flows, it's like they swap into robot mode. And like it feels so stale, and I'm like, man.
It's because people want a world where they can not have to put in the groundwork, the grind, building the relationships, and waiting until they want to buy something. People dream of a world where that is possible, but it simply is not.
So we were talking about the convenience economy before we came on, right? And frankly, that is a really good point that you're making about sales. Impatience and lazy. So often when someone outsources a sales problem, it's too late because they haven't taken sales seriously inside their business. And all they're looking for is a silver bullet. And I guarantee you, there is zero silver bullet for sales. It is a long game. And like I said, you can't oscillate turning it on and off like a light switch, because the compound impact is like actually quite a significant delay. You can't outsource it in this way because it just frankly just doesn't work, right? You've got to be taking it really seriously and doing it all the time in loads of different ways and loads of different channels to make it work.
Yeah. No, very interesting. We did something a while ago. A friend of ours started it was in the infancy of AI, well, when it became accessible. And he set up an email outreach software. It was really interesting, really good. And he trialed it on us and we used it. And funnily enough, we got a couple of paying customers from it. But here's the interesting thing. We got a lot of, F-offs and a lot of, why have you got my email and all that. And they implemented it entirely. They would walk us through like the sort of sequence, whatever it's called. And a couple of people that replied said, "Hi there, I can obviously tell this is automate or whatever, but as it happens, yes, we are looking for a podcast studio." So in those instances, you can reply by like, "Haha, you got us, yeah, sorry, just trying out this thing." But
then you made it human.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Exactly. But again, like going back to it, there's nothing wrong with sending automated stuff, right? But you got to get the ingredients right. So you'd be lucky, I think, for most businesses to create a list of 10,000 people these days. If it's 10,000 people, it's probably not target enough. So therefore, you can't write anything sophisticated enough and human enough to actually pull them in because it's just too broad brush.
Yeah.
You do want scale, but you do need to think about the segmentation. So
it gets too generalized otherwise.
Yeah. So even if there's 10,000 people, split that into 10 lists based on job title or industry or all of those things, right?
Even age, is that still a relevant thing these days?
Maybe not in B2B, I don't think. I think that's less of a thing. But if you then subdivide that and segment that into 10,000 people into 10 lists, not one list, you write 10 different flows. You're going to have a much higher success rate because you've just thought about that person, their individual problems based on job title or sector or whatever the dynamics of it are. That will increase your conversion rate significantly rather than just being lazy and going, oh yeah, we can get 10,000 people. Awesome. Whack out that flow. It might work. Like, again, the odds are 10,000 messages, you're going to get something back. But wouldn't it be great to send 10,000 messages and get like a really good response back? Just because you put a bit more effort in? I mean, that would be.
What would you do with
if
that?
If you can crack that,
like,
mate,
shit,
let me know.
guys, it worked. What are we going to do?
too many sales. Said no one ever. It's lazy. It's people just aren't really appreciating the fact that you got to put the effort into something to get the effort back out of it.
Yeah, particularly in the B2B world where you're talking hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of pounds, sometimes on a monthly basis. I think people just need to get over the fact that there isn't a magic formula. There is relationship building, and that is it.
Yeah, exactly right.
So, regards to what you guys do at Friday Solved, is it the exact same thing? You just do what you preach, effectively.
So we're our own best case study. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got to be. So, and look, we're not perfect. And like any service business, right, when we get busy, the first thing to go is our own stuff, right? But we've got, I wrote a post a couple of weeks ago on what we've achieved this year that worked. So we could always reference that in the notes because there's some, I'll not remember all the points, it's about 20 points, right? But things like, we're about to launch the third iteration, it's like an evolution, not revolution, of our value proposition this year. So version 3 this year alone, right? Our demand generation engine is at scale. We've been delivering that consistently over time. So we're starting to get to a point of predictability and starting to see the early signs of sustainability.
Is that because of the compounding of
time, effort, consistency? Yeah. So that's working really well. You know, we're a sales business, so like we want to help ourselves, but also our clients focus on the things you can control in sales. That said, we do a lot of content marketing. So in a couple of weeks, we're about to post an article, which will be 100 articles in 100 weeks. So that's one article per week for nearly 2 years. And I'm going to put all of the data and insights and learnings off the back of that. Now, I love that because it's like every time we're putting an article out, we're giving answers. I mean, it's not sales material. It's like, if you've got this problem, go and do this. I mean, that's exactly how we write the content. We can't control how that works for us. So we actually do the control bit by bringing it back into our demand and nurture engine to make sure that we're sweating those assets in a more controlled way. But it has been useful putting it out there, and we have got inbound off the back of it as well, right? Which has been brilliant. We've rebuilt our CRM entirely. Off the shelf. We didn't build it ourselves. It'd be ludicrous, right? But we rebuilt the tool that we're using. We've optimized it probably about 8 times in terms of structure of sales process, sales stages, the way that we work. We brought other team members into the sales engine to make sure there's like scalable resources, not just scalable kind of output. You know, we've written, like I said, we're 100 articles in, 100 months, 100 weeks, whatever it is. But on top of that, I mean, this year alone, we've probably written about 40 to 50,000 words this year, right? We've done multiple speaking gigs. We've leveraged channel partners and referral channels. We've done so much stuff and it's worked. But I'm still sat here going, Well, I still haven't got YouTube live yet. That's annoying. And I haven't got my podcast up yet. That's also really annoying. I'm like, we haven't really you're not going to get work off TikTok or Instagram, I don't think, but we look a little bit, well, not a little bit, very quiet on those channels. I'm like, that's really annoying as well. But it's like, we've done so much, but there's always more you can be doing.
Not many people are killing it on every channel, and they don't need to. I had a conversation with a client the other day about this, where their head of marketing was being like, yeah, they're trying to get stuff on Instagram and that. And I'm like, do you even need to bother? Does any of it come from there? They're selling like a very high value consultancy service. And it's like, maybe you just need to just.
I don't think anyone's going to buy us or like a complicated B2B offer off Instagram.
No.
However, when people are doing their homework and you touch them on different channels, like, because you need to do channel switching, email, get them on WhatsApp if you can, calls, like whatever, right? At some point somewhere, they're probably going to have a little look at Instagram, maybe just for shits and giggles, TikTok. And wouldn't it be nice if you were just there and you looked like you were alive as a business?
True, but do you not think people would be able to be like, well, they clearly don't care. They're a B2B company,
But that depends on the content, I think.
Yeah.
So, we're never going to over-index on those channels. So, like TikTok, whatever we stick on YouTube Shorts is probably just going to go on TikTok and Reels, right? It's going to be repurposing content. But it looks as if we're alive, at least, so, but we've got to pick your battles. So, okay, we didn't do those things, but we did some other things really well that actually delivered results. Going back to the can't control thing, I can't control anyone who's going to potentially, but unlikely, become a lead from Instagram or TikTok in the slightest, right? But I can control my demand generation because I can go and talk to the people I exactly want to talk to. I can control the way that we handle middle of funnel nurture and follow-up. I can control all that stuff, and I can do it at scale. So again, it comes back down to like priorities. And I think it's always like control the things you can control and don't worry about the things you can't control. And in the can't control bucket, I'm putting also things like ad spend, pay-per-click. That can be a monumental waste of money because you go, well, I'm picking my audience. I'm putting a fixed budget in, like I'm only going to spend 100, 200 quid a month or whatever, £2,000 a month, whatever your budget is. Yeah, I mean, technically speaking, if you trust the platforms, and you've done all the little sliders and the filtering on who that audience is going to be, you'd think that you're going to get the right people seeing your ad, but you can't make them click the ad.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like you still don't know who's on the other side of that. It's like a one-way mirror, right? You still don't really know. Whereas if you're focusing on the things you can control, I know I'm coming after you. And I know I'm going to work really hard to show you that we add value. And that's great because I can see you, I can eyeball you, I can see you on LinkedIn, I can get to know you. But you can't see someone through the one-way mirror of like ads as well. So I'm not saying ads are bad. Again, the right mix of things like all contributes, and you can do some funny retargeting things.
Does it seem like it's just an unreasonable amount of money, trial and error, data collection even, all these things to get the maybe same results as you can from just building a good relationship with someone directly?
Look, I think the direct thing, even if it's through automation, right, always feels like a better approach. And there'll be some people listening to this who are probably ad specialists going, you don't know what you're talking about, Ryan. I'm like, you know what? I don't know that much about ads.
No, that's the thing. I'm in the same boat as you there.
But what I do know is you're trusting Google or Meta to say, yeah, for sure. There's 10,000 people, they match that filter. I'm like, does anyone really trust these platforms? And then it's like, I still can't really see who's clicking or not clicking.
You can't see what they're feeling when you click it. Sometimes I click on something because I go, oh, it's a nice shiny picture. Don't care about what they're selling.
There's a pop-up. No.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that. Your human natural like button pressing thumb comes in out of control. But so I'm not saying ads are bad, right? But what I am saying is like, when you can't do everything and money is finite, and also, let's be honest, money is tight for most businesses right now, focus on the things that you can control versus things that you can't control.
I agree. What was I going to say there? Right, first of all, I want to touch on the absolute irony that, going back to what you can control and what you can't control. As a sales consultancy, ironically, you cannot make people buy. That is something you cannot control. And that must be quite an awkward conversation with clients and prospects, where they must come along with all sorts of wild demands and desires, like, right, we need to start bringing in 100K a month starting next month, or we've got 2 months to get that point. Can you do it? Do you get stuff like that?
No, actually, no, not so much of it. And maybe that's just about the way that by the time we're talking to someone, we've conditioned them to understand our philosophy on things. So I can't even remember whenever someone's gone, I need 100 grand in 3 months. Can you make it happen? If that person phoned me today, I'd be like, yeah, sorry, it's not the solution for you. I just wouldn't get us into it because it's never going to happen.
Because
it's impossible.
I thoroughly agree with your philosophy. And I think once you know it and you understand it, there's no looking back.
If you can get for us, like our clients, to understand truly what sales is, and that comes back to, like, very simply, don't sell. That's our philosophy, right? The top of the tree, as it were. If you can get them to understand that and understand that sales is not a fast thing, and if they're desperate for revenue because they're now talking to you because they've got a sales problem, have they got a sales problem? Probably yes. But what's driving it? You're running out of money. You've got a revenue problem. You've got a cash problem. You need fast money. You're not going to get that from net new sales. If you need to put some coffers in the bank for the next 3 months, the only place you should be looking is existing clients, because they know you, they trust you. You can go, I've got a gap in my resource. Something moved out. Do you need it? Like, I've got a couple of resources for a couple of weeks. Like, you reckon we could do something? That's where you're going to get those little plugs for any kind of gaps in your revenue. It's not going to start at the top of the tree where you're starting with a cold conversation, because that is a slow cycle. Mm-hmm. Some might argue that referrals could also help fill that short-term bit. I still find referrals an amazing channel for conversion.
You can optimize them, but you can't control them.
Can't control them. So, you might have a really sophisticated referral program. You might have 10 super referrers. They can only refer you into someone mostly when someone's gone, oh God, I've got this problem. Who should I talk to? Oh, I'm going to refer you. Now there's a scenario where you could go, you 10 referrers, we've got a bit of a sticky situation coming up. Could you name like the top 10 people in your network that whether they do or don't, you think they do or don't have a problem right now, it would be worth us talking to, that you could get the introduction. You can control that, but also that isn't massively scalable. Mm-hmm. So for us, it always comes down to scale, predictability, sustainability, right? So all of these things are good things to be doing, and you should be doing all of these things that we're talking about, but it's not the only thing you should be doing, and you shouldn't put the reliance in the wrong place.
I agree. So I do want to bring this to an end fairly soon because I'm conscious of your time needing to be off. But I would like to talk a little bit about what the process looks like from, let's say, someone's gone through the entire process of they've found out who you are, they know a bit about what you do, and they're ready to sign on as a client. Let's talk about what it's like for someone signing on to you guys delivering your service.
So the first thing is you got to sign our manifesto. Mm-hmm. Which is our manifesto basically talks about our don't sell philosophy. It's about expectation management, all this kind of stuff. So it's very clear on what that business that we may potentially now be working with is going to experience, not only in the way that we work, because we've got a very kind of agile, kind of unique way of working. Well, agile's not unique, but for our sector, I think it's quite interesting and quite different. But also the expectations on what they think the results are going to look like over time, because again, there's no silver bullet to sales, and they need to appreciate that it's a slow process. It's slow burn. There's a few little mechanics, like email can go faster, but LinkedIn super slow. Like there's loads of different ways you can balance it. But fundamentally, if you set the expectation that it's a slow process, then brill.
Do you know what? Sorry, before you go on there, I just want to quickly ask, are there people out there that genuinely believe that there is a silver bullet to sales?
Yeah.
Actual agencies that are out there selling you, because I couldn't imagine looking someone dead in the eye and being like, if you pay me $5,000 a month, I'll make you 20 grand a month. And then they're going, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
I'm not blaming the businesses who are buying that.
Yeah.
I'm blaming the people who are selling that.
It's insane.
It is
insane. It is a lie.
Expectation to be setting.
Yeah. It is just a lie.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you do enough scale, you get the chance thing, you get like the few chance encounters, but these businesses that are going, we'll get you 20 qualified meetings every month. Define qualification.
Yeah, I was going to say qualified.
And like, I don't know, like it all starts to feel a bit fishy for me, right? So again, that's why the manifesto is really important, right? Because we're protecting our brand, our reputation. We're working quite a murky end of the agency market, trying to solve something in a totally different way. Because we are not actually the solution to sales. We're the accelerator to getting your business to self-sufficiency, empowerment,
Yeah.
and taking it really seriously internally. And you guys are going to go and solve it. We're just going to put the strategy, process, technology, the right people in the right place, and also fix your sales culture.
Yeah.
And we're going to get that bit working for you, train you, show you the way, get your expectations right. You guys are actually going to be the one that's going to go and solve it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just helping you get to the answer quicker.
Well, because sales is not the sale itself, it's everything before it. And
Exactly.
I mean, my sales calls these days, I've never had sales calls. The chats there, all the groundwork's been done. It's been like, do you want to try this? Yeah, sure. They try it. And it's like, do you want to do a package? Something like, yeah, sure. Or no. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a script.
Exactly.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
But to answer your question, so the first thing is whites of eyes.
Yep.
Sign in blood on the manifesto, not quite. To make sure
Cloaks and everything.
Cloaks and
Candles.
Loads of candles. Love a candle. Sign the manifesto. Make sure everyone's bought in and has the right expectation set at the start. And then, very simply, the first thing we do is strategy, and that isn't like this. I mean, sometimes it's big thinking strategy, like heavy lifting, but most of the time it's very practical strategy because people just want to get into the execution. But without the right strategy, even a little bit, you're going to shoot off possibly in the wrong direction. So we do some strategy up front, which then turns into some process because most of the businesses that we work with are lacking enough fidelity in the way that they operate their sales engine process-wise. Concurrently to that, we're building out technology. So making sure, is it this much technology, is it this much, depending on the problem? Because again, it's not like one size fits all. So putting the appropriate amount of technology in and the appropriate technology in place to make sure you can do some cool things. Along the way, we're also making sure that we touch the team as much as possible in their side. We are reconfiguring roles and responsibilities, putting people in different places, the right place. Because again, there's another misconception that you hire a business development manager, another one, let's say, because you need more sales, and you're making them stretch from cold to nurture to close. You're setting that person up to fail straight away. Because unless you have a unicorn, you can't get one person to do that. It's at least two people, probably three. That doesn't mean it's going to cost you more, but there's a better way to configure your pipelining. And that's a bit of process, but it's a lot of the people bit. And often rebuilding those people's confidence in what we're then asking them to do, especially after this last year, if not to mention the last 3 to 4 years, like salespeople are very much beaten down, right? So we're trying to give them some confidence and some enthusiasm and the right support. Then the last thing that we do, which usually happens towards the end, but it is a bit more osmosis-y along the whole process, is culture change. So that culture change is the last bit that allows us to do like the proper sales transformation and just walk away going, they've got it. They're in control. They've got both hands on the steering
people are
wheel.
focused on connecting rather than trying to sell.
Culture, it's about redefining what sales is. So, I mean, not exactly what we've been talking about today. But, you go into a creative agency, the founding team, depending on how big they are, leadership team, whatever it is, like they've got an appreciation for sales. Some of them will be good at it, nurture, close, not necessarily top. And then it drops away really quickly. So like, and again, I'm generalizing, but like heads of tech, heads of creative, heads of design, heads of UX, whatever the job title is, right? They're like, oh God, sales. For God's sake, don't make me sell. I'm like, we're not going to make you sell. Would you like to meet some really cool people in amazing brands that are perfect fit for you and talk to them about the next big thing in whatever you're interested in, next design trends, next technology trends, whatever it is? Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And we don't have to sell to them. Definitely don't sell to them. Just talk to them because you're interested in it, they're interested in it, and show that you're good and just be a cool human being. Oh yeah, I could probably do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could actually, yeah. And that's going to help. That's going to massively help the sales engine. Oh yeah, go on, sign me up then. That's the cultural change.
Why is this so simple, but there's an entire culture around making it complicated and wrong? Why? I mean, why did it get this way?
The UK as a whole, like, culturally, like, is not really geared for the intrusiveness of sales, right? Yeah. There's less of a problem. Like, if you look at a US market, like, you can be a bit more
Wolf of Wall Street,
a little bit more. But even so, things have matured quite significantly. But we just got the wrong expectation. We've still got these visions of, and not calling out car salespeople, right? But, the what's the dad in Matilda called? The sheepskin wearing, whatever. Right?
Well, was Danny DeVito, but I can't remember his name.
Just Danny DeVito.
Frank Reynolds from
that's their expectations. Like, hey, want to buy something? Woo. It's the best price I can do. It's a low price. If you do it today, it's going to be gone tomorrow. Like, I mean, it doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't even happen in car dealerships anymore, right? So that's like your wrong expectations. So like that last bit in terms of working with us is that kind of total reboot in expectations, great expectations, right? Yep. Set the expectations, set the playbook out differently. And then actually having all of those people bought into it, you've got more scale, you've got more interesting people that are willing to go to market as well. So then it comes back to us, like the things that we deliver is ownership and empowerment. We're delivering scalability, predictability, sustainability over time. But ultimately the ownership is the thing that someone's purchasing from us, because they then got a thing. And, we have this transition at the end going, we're now taking our hand off the steering wheel. You're going to put your other hand on the steering wheel and we're done. Obviously pick up the phone, you got a problem. And they're like, yeah, okay. And a couple of weeks later, it's like, oh, God, you know what? I'd really love this. Yeah. I had an email. I haven't even sold anything, or this guy hasn't even bought anything from me. At a really cool US agency. And he heard me talk in Copenhagen a few months ago. And I've sent him loads of stuff. I've sent him some recordings. I've sent him loads of articles. I've been on a call twice with him, given him the answers. And I dropped him a message yesterday going, how's it going? By the way, I forgot. I should have sent you this because you repurposed the team member to go and do a specific role. He's like, I just want to say, I was nervous. I've turned everything on that you told. They hasn't paid a dime, right? I turned everything on that you told me to do. And I sat back and I was like, oh my God, why don't I do this sooner? I'm like, wasn't that hard, was it? No. And I've got so much more confidence around going to do this now. I'm like, I've done my job. You might buy from me. You might not buy from me. I don't care, but I've done a good thing. And he's going to go off and have a good opinion of us. But actually, most importantly, I've just helped someone. Yeah. You might, and to your point, you might refer me later. Who knows? Yeah. But either way, you've done the right thing. Most importantly. Yeah. And you're creating a world where people are being trained to be slimy salesmen and where they don't like it themselves. No one likes to. Can you imagine if you were told to, right, call these 100 people? Like, oh my God, I don't want to do that. No. No one wants me to do that. So yeah, it's great that you're training a world to approach sales in a more authentic, practical way, in a way where people actually want to be sold to, if you will, which is not be sold to. Exactly. Right, we'll leave it there. Ryan, thank you so much. Really enjoyed that chat. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Again, if you think you'd be a good guest on the show, then please drop me an email at joe@innersound.media. See you in the next episode.